that has Keria and Guma like get beaten in the 2v2 and then has Oner and Faker engage on the skirmish, right? That's the type of play that doesn't really matter which champions you're playing, and that is something that T1 is going to have to fix, because otherwise this is going to be an actual clean 2-0. Nothing to see here from KT, and I expect to see an adaptation towards the jungle, and perhaps even towards mid. The Nico was alright, but not really having...
looking like Nico in the first game.
There you go. Wow, that's a great choke, Valdez.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
You kind of teed me up for that one. You were the one who said Nico.
Well, you deserve the credit for that, so I'm going to let you have it. As already we have our diversion, and as I expected, the Nico just going to be banned away. Don't want to give it over, but also don't want to prioritize it as we're gonna Azir, right? Like it's Azir or Aphelios.
Yeah, I don't think you pick Renekton with Poppy now available.
Yeah, or Keen on Quinn. You know, that's something. As BD is like, oh, they took it away from me again. And given what we've seen thus far, the expectation will be that it will be a Taliyah. I would not mind a Zeri pickup again here at all. I think that Aiming has shown that he deserves our trust when playing the champion. But you don't want to give over Aphelios to Guma. And so KT can now either lock in something for the top half of the map. My expectation is that the Taliyah is going to follow, but in the as a third pick. And they're not really going to be too worried about Cuz, because I actually think Cuz's champion pool is completely fine. But no, are they going to prioritize the Viego here again? I think the Renekton is just there to tilt you, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean, that was baiting me.
Second time in a row.
I mean, into Azir and potentially Poppy that I think Oner should just slam down. That would not have been a good pick. So, especially, you know, I mean, it's Keen, like, come on.
Yeah. So now my question is, do you lock in... Yeah, do you lock in bot lane? So Lucianami is one that comes to mind. That's the obvious one. Or do you get Oner his Poppy? Because you're not going to be able to get access to both. This is something that into the Aphelios isn't necessarily the best. But we have seen the level of power that the T1 bot lane against KT in Game 5 of the Spring Playoffs was able to find with this specific combo. And now there's the option to either get Lahens a pick that works well, or do KT kind of say, hey, we don't expect you to ban Taliyah. We're going to give that one and try to pick it up in the second rotation. Instead, prioritize the Lulu here to really enable and empower the laning phase, because Aphelios Lulu into specifically Zyra Khan, I think actually is a great lane. Will have a lot of pressure, or should have at the very least. Wouldn't be surprised if KT end up banning the Wukong, because of the Wukong and Rakan and Azir combo. Doesn't sound like the best of times here to play into for KT.
Nocturne taken away.
Even with Lulu available.
Yeah.
Interesting here.
One of the extreme dive champs, I suppose, another one that can get on top of the Aphelios. There's that Taliyah you were talking about, so that's immediately taken away.
Taliyah Yone then, maybe? Perchance here for T1. We'll see if that ends up being the direction.
Poppy.
Yeah, I would love to see a Poppy ban. Particularly because KT is going to... Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I was getting worried. I'm like, maybe they're discussing their picks. I don't know.
Yeah, because KT is going to have to either lock in a mid laner here, which, given the fact that we already know where Faker is going to go, does make the most sense. Ahri is available and is something that works very well with the Viego specifically, as BDD is just going to have a little bit of fun here. But I'm leaning towards Yone or Ahri, and both of those do make a ton of sense. This is, of course, BDD comfort, but I think they're just throwing some false information away. But no!
TF.
Oh, boy!
And you know what? They left the Renekton up. They're like, hey, you want to play Renekton? We'll just play Quinn. Because Quinn TF would be insane map pressure, obviously. But it does look like T1 do want to commit more into some of this dive. The Maokai available, a very strong jungler in the meta at the moment. The Cassante has been totally ignored, but it will be picked up here this time.
Yeah, the problem with a lot of the other picks, as opposed to K'Sante, is that obviously the Gwen is still going to pummel K'Sante, but there is going to be a substantial amount of time where K'Sante will have a lot of impact. Whereas if you go for like Jax, because it's great into TF, then Keen can just lock Gragas. Renekton, guess what? Can lock Gragas or even lock Quinn and do the same thing he did last time around when we saw this. So Gwen is the most obvious pick that we've seen. Another one that has been pretty popular into the K'Sante has been something like the Malphite, where you just accept that, yeah, there we go. Accept that it's not about you, and it will be a surefire way to force out an ultimate of Guma. And Guma still has been, I think, the most consistent member. Didn't really get to play the game last time around at all on T1, so taking away agency from him is a great way. I do think the KT comp, compared to last time around, Lex engaged a little bit more. Obviously, Malphite ult is great, but that really is the only reliable way you have of starting fights. But when it comes to the side lane control and the ability to, in particular, I think, enhance that bot lane, a lot of agency is going to be here for BDD. And the 2v2 is looking peachy. If Oner and Faker can kind of weather the early game, some of the first ultimates from TF, things can be okay. But if you start snowballing, SKT, like you did in the last game, with a combination of an Aphelios, a Lulu who can really bolster anyone, and then specifically that TF and Viego thing, or the game is going to be a very, very hard, very fast.
KT win. I bring love from Sweden, is what it says there in Korean at the bottom. The Sweden, at least. The rest of it, you guys could read. As you were talking about 2018, is this the strongest we have seen KT since then? Which is the last time they won the LCK. Perhaps. I think a 2-0 over T1 would really solidify some of that thinking a bit more in the minds of the viewers, as T1, they've got a lot of straightforward dive potential. They're going to be looking for that backline. Let's see if they can shut down aiming this time around, as a little bit more variety on the side of KT Rolster. Let's hop onto the Rift here for game number 2. All right, here we go. TF is very good at level 1. Faker elected to auto instead of anything else, instead of just running, but he will be just fine. Just getting a ward down here, as Keen trying to hold down this, but a ward is in the top side red buff as well.
Yeah, if BDD is a better cycle there, then maybe they can force a summoner, right? But opened up on gold card and then had to wait.
Should have been quicker.
The whole lit through.
Should have locked in the gold card right away. I don't know why you didn't.
Better.
Yeah. Just locking the gold card forehead. But yeah.
I do think we're in a great place to give feedback to BDD about his twisted fate. Thank you for that, Val.
Yeah, we had some great ARAMs recently. Yeah, no, I mean,
I wasn't part of those.
True.
I was asleep.
By we, I mean a collective
collective
team.
LCK team. Yeah, that is true. Well, not an LCK team, but a team comprised of people that are in or part of the LCK broadcast. Specific.
All right, we got there in the end. Guma once again not purchasing the call. He's going to elect to just have more power, more survivability with that Doran's in that one. As Glacial Augment once again, Keria is getting poked down just a bit here. As Zyra Khan on a little bit of a win streak, and by 5 different teams it has picked up wins here in summer, including these 2 teams, T1 and KT. Each getting a win apiece on this duo.
Keria not hitting his Qs means that some of the rest actually will stick for now. And level 2 being hit by aiming on the hands earlier. As mentioned, as to be expected. This is a pretty lane-dominant lane, particularly early on. Because unsurprisingly, Faker has a pretty good win rate on Azir.
Yeah. 105, I believe.
I had the graphic earlier. Let me
76 was 29.
There you go.
Yeah, 105. And I don't know, those numbers
I know BDD is 1, but I do think the... Anyway, doesn't...
Okay. Well.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Valdes and I are getting pranked.
We're getting pranked by the numbers.
By a sheet
either way.
of paper.
Yeah.
Numbers that you guys can't see, but I assure you...
Who could win? Two humans with relatively functional brains or one silly piece of paper?
Guess what?
We'll never know. Gates, and this time Lance, you know, maybe he was watching that first series, saw the potential of a level 2 recon knockup. He's like, no, you know what? I'm just going to flash.
Good call.
I'm Lulu.
Might have been forced to use the summoners or die afterwards. Maybe Lahan's trying to reach the same sheet of paper. You know, what are the odds? And will have to give up his flash. There is vision on Oner as he's clearing his Krug. So right now we do have knowledge, and now T1 will also spot Cause. Are we going to get a 3v3 here?
Yeah, trying to force the 3v3, but the Sun is going to miss. That's a second flash force, but the root does come in, and Oner's just going to have to back away. Feathers pulled back as well. There's a stun follow-up. Just a winning trade, you could say, for KT, although they lose in terms of summoners.
Conqueror's fully stacked.
Yeah, BD is getting pretty low, and that's just going to be first blood. He's standing on the soldiers. He says, well, I can't run from here, so I'll just try to take the trade, and he loses it. So Faker takes first blood. As Oner still here, stun, missing. They jump onto him immediately, and he doesn't have flash. So he just gets jumped on. That's another kill on the side of T1, this time in the hands of Guma.
All right, who did it? Who got excited?
I think all of us collectively, actually.
Oh my god. How? How, I ask you, do we go from the previous game to...
I think it was KT themselves, actually.
KT, like... The trade is I don't think it's favorable, right? Because Cuz is forced to flash, Lahans is forced to flash. And that part is whatever, right? Obviously, Guma uses his cleanse, and you get a decent trade to summoners. But having that bot lane dive right while this is happening as well is very questionable. Once Conqueror is stacked, you're just not going to be able, right, to actually have the early damage necessary. And you can see, as you point out, he's standing on like 3 soldiers.
I died. That's it.
And then this one, there are still flashes available for everyone on T1, and Cuz doesn't have his. Like if you start a play, you need to open it up with an aiming auto attack, set up the Gravitum, and guarantee the lockdown. Because then, you know, maybe it can work. Polymorph would also be adequate, but instead, we have an early lead for Faker. We have an early kill for Guma, and while it by itself is not necessarily a guarantee that things are going to work out for T1. As mentioned, some of their mid-game skirmishing last game was definitely suspect. It paints a very different picture than the previous game.
I mean, you asked who got excited. It absolutely was the KT players, right?
It was everyone.
They're trying to force these fights that are clearly not in their favor, and they will get punished for it. As here comes TF, though, they're trying to get onto that bottom lane. No cleanse here for Guma, and he doesn't have the flash. The damage is enough, and aiming will be able to capitalize on BDD's first ult.
Beautifully done there. The first ult, always important to try and get things going. And BDD finds a beautiful angle there. No cleanse available, nothing that Guma can do. Look at the timing here as well. Cleanse is going to be available in just a little bit. No ultimate. No opportunity here, and we will see the dragon now started.
You got a fight in the top side here too. No teleports available. This is just straight up one-on-one as Zeus is getting in there. No knock-up in time. As meanwhile, we got a fight underneath here. Gold card on the Oner means that he just hops away buffered. Well, not really buffered. He just had that before the gold card hit him. Either way, that will be Ocean Drake over the side of KT. So they do capitalize on that pick onto Gumayusi.
What is really big as well, as without all out, and I don't expect Zeus to actually go in too ham here. Might be able to get a demolish proc. He's trying to zone him away. It looks like it will be successful. But is that aiming got that kill on Guma. So it means that the gold now equalized. Also a plate picked up, and that will also be evened out as we do see T1 actually pick it up here. And just really nicely done. This is what we were talking about, the setup of Gravitum. Full stun lock here on Guma. No playmaking opportunity for him at all. Well done there by the KT bottom lane.
Fun and interactive League of Legends.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And now it's up to T1 to show that they can actually punish this, because aiming did proactively flash for that one. So maybe we can see Faker roam over, try and set up a dive here. But BDD's ultimate is already like 3/4 of the way done, and the moment that that becomes available, setting up a dive on bot side becomes a bit of an ordeal.
Well, Guma and Keria, by the time that is up, they should hit level 6 themselves, so maybe, you know, Cleanse and Featherstorm would be enough to get Guma out of any danger. Obviously, it'll come down to the execution. There's ways to maybe try to force a Cleanse before, or be able to layer the CC in a way that you can still maybe even get on top of Keria or something like that. So KT definitely have that angle. The top lane is definitely not where BDD is going to be looking unless Cuz is also there. I sincerely think that Malphite and TF, before many items are done, can do much to Cassante. So probably going to avoid that lane for now, will BDD, who is, by the way, down 15 CS.
I don't think we're ever going to reach a point where Cassante is going to die to those two. Even with Sun firing, you know?
Maybe the 3. Do you think if Via goes there, they can do it?
Yeah.
3v1?
Yeah, that'll be fine. As Faker.
Okay, Faker actually takes a while to notice, as now he has to flash. Unfortunate spot for him. Nice little angle there from BDD, though. Coming out of the brush, knowing there was no vision of his location. Has Ignite as well. He did pick up the unsealed spellbook. Has the ult available, the Destiny Gate. He's thinking about that top side, but he just wraps around to the other side.
And this is the problem. Every single time that BDD walks into Fog, there is a need for T1 to play extremely respectful. Do note that while all of this was happening, Oner picked up the Rift Herald, also has now finished his Umbral Glaive, and should be able to provide a bit more of vision control around the map. And level 6 getting hit across the board. Faker has finished his crown, which obviously in general has become a very popular item on Azir, but particularly I quite like into what KT have, because a lot of it will be C champion, kill champion, especially as we get to later stages in the game.
They want to dive bot. The teleport changes, so you can teleport now onto wards and anything, basically, after 10 minutes as they're looking for the pick on Oner. Flash stun comes in, Heartbreaker as well as they're trying to get on top of the Kazakhs. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Cuz gonna take that one down. So much for your dive as now Heartbreaker's in onto Faker. He dodges the Emperor's Divide as the red buff is ticking away onto the Azir, but the rotation from T1 into the mid lane. Here comes Keria. And you do have Gumayusi as well, but at least they keep Faker alive. But at the same time, Aiming's getting so much value in the bottom lane. KT are clawing their way back into this game.
And it is again a mid 2v2 outplay as Aiming.
Oh boy, Lehens is baiting them into this one. He takes a big chunk of damage, and now Aiming is looking to win this 1v2 with the help of his friendly Lulu.
And the big thing here, Aiming is up a kill, is just now finished his call, and Oner is going to be on the ward here. Can they get the knockdown?
Oh, just barely gets out of that knockup, does flash anyway. Just wants to play it safe, knows that he cannot get picked at this point.
And it's something that we haven't really discussed yet, but what you saw there as well is the fact that Oner, his ultimate, loses a lot of value when BDD is available. He's not able to just slink away, try and utilize the stealth, which gives so much extra survivability to Kazakhs. Oner just straight up tries to go for the ward, right? And even Ignite for good measure to make sure you really don't lose track of the bug. And then this sidestep from Kaz while charging his W, the man
missed the stun,
playing. Yeah, and that would have probably been enough to get the kill, but still you can kind of sense, right? Keria using his ultimate there, some of the desperation, I don't want to call it, but, you know, kind of a feeling of being rushed, being pressured that T1 is exhibiting here.
Hastiness.
Yeah. And they're afraid of getting outpaced by KT, and even with the early leads, KT right now looking like they're playing on a different level.
All right.
See what a T1 can match with a fight here.
Buzz in a bit of trouble, doesn't have flash himself, but he does get the smite down. Oner, again, not able to win the smite fight as now he's going forward. He's got the wild growth, but again, no flash. Can he survive? And yes, he will, as Faker caught in the pit. They're trying to turn this one around as the Emperor's Divide does a huge amount of damage. Lehens is trying to get away. Oner's getting into that back line, but the Aphelios is getting huge damage in the pit. And here is Keen from the top lane to turn the fight around. respond in a huge way, knocks up 2 and wins the fight for KT.
And Zeus, even though he has TP, does not join the rest, and it's again KT. Everyone is on the same page, and the same cannot be said for T1 in this one. Aiming gets out with a bunch of kills, and look at the restraint here. It starts off with Cuz being able to stay alive, and from the get-go it feels like T1 doesn't want to fully commit here, right? We go in on Cuz, he gets out with just a little bit of health. Keria already no longer in this fight, and with Lahens surviving, and then Oner forced to jump over, him not even getting the kill on Cuz, and then the Keen teleport to really round it all out.
Nice!
Oh, baby, Lahens feeling it.
Yeah, the cheerleader. Look at this. 2 KT coaches, Supreme and Rapid Star going in there, having a lot of fun, and it's only good feels on the side of KT. As it was kind of funny too, I was looking at the guns of aiming. He actually had Calibrum and his Severum right there at the end. That's the only reason why they were actually able to get that kill onto Oner and why Cuz stayed alive. A big fight there. They noted that a lot of summoners are down. KT can't get away, but T1 also can't get away. So they opted into that fight in the pit, and it went heavily in their favor. T1, they won the first 2 trades, but it did not matter. KT was still able to claw their way back into this one just through straight up better play, just better execution. And that's what we've been seeing out of KT nowadays. They are an incredibly strong team in the LCK.
And we'll see what T1 is able to do going into this fight, which it looks like they definitely are going to go for. Because if this one doesn't work out, you got to imagine that's just the end of it. We do see BDD looking to go for a back, but of course can join with his ultimate. And Hexgates in particular make him very quick, although I think he cancelled it at the end there. Oh, Keria should get spotted here once the ultimate comes through.
Let's see how it goes. Keria is spotted.
Faker.
And Faker's got an angle too, but now he's spotted. Uh-oh. A lot of these flanks are getting caught out, and KT just say, well, we'd rather not flip it on the second Herald, so we'll just let you have this one. Could have been a dire situation for them, especially with Hextech Soul on the way. Don't want to lose control of the game that they have right now, but T1 at least able to get in position and pick up the second Rift Herald.
And really big here is T1 getting themselves access, as you point out, to that Herald, because it might mean that they can contest. Because if KT sets up Soul Point, good luck coming back. Against TF in particular, trying to like sneak away objectives is insanely hard. The speed of rotations of TF also even further bolstered by the fact that we're on a Hextech Rift. So everyone can get everywhere a whole lot quicker, aiming a big gold lead here as well, sitting on a 2-kill advantage, sitting on about 20 CS up here by the time this wave is cleared. And for T1, felt like the early game, KT messed up and then said, doesn't matter. We're going to outplay you in some of these fights. And if T1 doesn't find a way to play out the skirmishes better, I don't think the result is going to be any different from game number 1. T1, I think previous to the, or unlike the previous game, have way more team fighting power, but still, everyone needs to be on the same page for that to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have to wait and see where it goes from here. This is not going to be like game 1 where both teams are like, okay, well, it's Chemtech Solo, you can just have the free Drakes. This one, T1 will have to fight over. But KT currently in the lead, definitely want to exert some pressure and dominance over these Drakes, but T1 right now do have control over a lot of this river, although they did not clear the wards behind them.
2-item spike here for aiming as Kraken Guild Force. So much power here for the fellas, both summoners available as well.
Feels
Wild
familiar.
Here. It really does.
Remember game 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're just pushing mid while aiming's pushing bot. That's a very safe TP from Keen. Just saying okay. And same from Zeus. He says, no, I'm just trying to stop the push. I just want to group up with my team. Looks like we might have a very straight up 5v5 fight for this first Hextech Drake.
And KT do have a lead, most notably aiming. BDD's ultimate also still available. He will be able to make his way into the back line. And Zeus making his way over. Will he be in time, though? Keen standing at the ready.
All right, there's the Destiny. We do have it behind. That is a massive Malphite ultimate. Guma is so low, but he's staying alive, but he does go down to the Viego right at the last second as BDD behind enemy lines is just kiting it out. He takes Oner and Keria out of the fight, and the front line of T1 is toast as Lahens doesn't even go down in the fight. All 5 members of KT survive, and it is a very straightforward victory in the fight to KT.
T1 getting absolutely smashed here, VODS, as KT find yet another angle. Keen, easy as starts up the fight there with the ultimate, and then T1 on the back foot right from the get-go. There's a reason why BDD loves this TF. Look at how they use the vision that it provides. And Faker, he'll be fine. He has a crown, but Guma, not going to be the case. Goes in. And then look at the positioning from aiming there as well, with his Severum right on top of them. And then by the time, again, that Zeus joins, fight's already done, and the disjointed nature of T1 is being highlighted and exploited so beautifully here by KT as they pick up soul points, pick up a decisive victory. Bounties on the map now here.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, take a look at the scoreline here of aiming. Now, this game isn't necessarily about him and his Zeri, but he's 4-0-5. He is having an immaculate series. And obviously here in game number 2, Keen's engage on that one was flawless. And we had BDD with a pretty epic flank as well, just able to run them down, had the Ghost from the Unsealed Spellbook. As now KT, they get those engages in, they win another big fight, they have a Hextech Drake under their belt, they're on soul point. What will they do with this lead as they spot Keria, who misses over the wall, as now they're just going to engage onto Guma as down he goes, has nothing in the tank left over. BDD makes it in behind the Cassante. This is an absolute bulldozing in this game. T1 have not found a single angle after that early game, as now KT are looking for the Baron at 20 minutes into the game.
And KT showing T1 how it feels to have a Baron taken away from you right from the get-go as Lahens. Look at him.
Oh, God.
What a menace.
Emotional damage being done right now on top of everything else. As that is a free Baron. Faker doesn't even bother. There's no reason to go near it. KT will take it down. Let's take another look here.
It's pretty straightforward, VODS. He doesn't have ult or flash.
Or cleanse. Not that it would have helped.
Yeah, I think cleanse would have been a difference maker. And he died. Straight up. Same for Zeus. Hasn't really been able to do anything of note here in this game. And colossal gold lead. KT only lost one turret. You know, they lost the mid lane turret to that push. Came through with the Herald, but outside of that, every objective has gone their way. BD sitting on a 10 stacks ring here as well. We'll see whether.
Dark Seal.
Yeah, it is a ring, you know.
True. Yeah.
It is a sealed ring, but a ring nonetheless. I'm so used to saying book that I'm just like, yeah. it's a ring.
Yeah.
But I don't know how T1 come back from this on. It's going to require like a wombo combo of epic proportions, and I just don't think that KT is going to walk into something like that.
Well, they've showcased that at this point the execution is so heavily in their favor that they're not going to be making any mistakes like that. Now, they did get excited in the beginning of this game. We can't forget about that, but after that, their ability, it's almost like they gave themselves a handicap. They're like, okay, well that was rough, but let's try to come back from this deficit that we've given to ourselves. And well, they pass with flying colors here in the test. So let's see where it goes from here. With this Baron power play, they have over 1,000 gold, the difference, as they are continuing to push onto these inner turrets. They're not bothering to look at the bottom lane, which is actually pretty stacked over on that side. They're just looking to push as a team, as there they go once again, just lining up for it. The crown gonna help Faker, but will this engage help as they get on top of the Aphelios? The 80 carries are traded, but the rest of the team here from KT is doing a lot. As you do see, the Emperor's Divide does come in. Keen is getting pretty low, but the Viego is going off in this game. He is stealing everybody. Cuz is getting pretty low, though. The gold card is in here. And perhaps they did overextend just a bit, as BDD almost going to hit that one, but misses the Q. As, yeah, they didn't necessarily have to do that, but they wanted to put on extra pressure underneath that inner turret.
I don't know about that dive. That was a bit gratuitous as we go in, but there is full vision available here. Keen is able to get the CC in the backline, and also really big is actually the wild growth because it delays Keria going over. That first half of the play, beautiful, clean, no comments. Then continuing on the dive, while the turret aggro is still there, definitely optimistic. T1 has so much CC between Faker and Zeus that, as we can see, KT is going to give up a few bounties, gives over what in the end is free for free, but obviously if you're behind, you're going to take that. But it doesn't matter because right here, the Dragon, the Soul Point is on the cards, and Keen just there with BDD, looking for any suitable target. T1 though still going to try and contest this.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. It's either you lose to Hex Tech Soul or you lose in this fight. Let's see if they got it as, oh, he will actually steal it, but he does immediately go down. Now 5v4 in favor of KT. They're going to take the 2 picks that T1 have to give over and maybe look for a little bit more. Here comes BDD. He's got Sonya's, I believe, and the Everfrost as he is holding on to it. Maybe he doesn't have it up after that last fight, and no, he just goes down and is not able to force too much in his favor. So T1 staying alive in this game.
KT's just making sure we're all thoroughly entertained. Okay, that's my read on that one.
Yeah.
As I thought he had stopwatch. If you have stopwatch, I know he has
it's like 5 seconds away.
It's on cooldown. As Oner gets it done here, is able to get himself the steal, which all it really does is keep T1 in the game. Doesn't really mean that they're in a much better position. And then Zeus goes down. And then here, again, I like the optimism, but there is still an Azir. Can't quite get through that choke point. And Cuz is lucky that he has a stopwatch available himself as well. As, oh my god, look at them. They have to watch Feldes.
Oh.
Have to look.
Locked behind the wall. What else can you do? Oner trying to give his team a small lease on life here. Still down heavily. And it is just the 1 Hextech Drake. And, you know, like a little bonus BDD kill, which he generously granted over. But that's fine. KT are still heavily in the lead.
Yeah, it barely makes a dent, right? We see the if this happens once more, that's when I'm gonna start
like right before a Baron or something.
Yeah, that's when I'm gonna start ringing the alarm bells as in he goes.
And he's going in again. Okay, this time he's got Sonya's. I almost guarantee it. That's a another double knockup rather, as both of them get extremely low. Guma holds on to his Feather Storm for about 5,000 years, and down will go the both of them as aiming is just sniping him down. Is now 9-1-9 in this game, and that might just do it.
I think that's it. That's the 2 most valuable members gone. And KT is about to 2-0 T1 here.
Oh, they're trying to clear out this wave, you see. Oh, God. They're both dead. They're both just dead as they are desperate to try to stop the wave from pushing in, but instead they donate their champions as in come the minions. It is inevitable. KT will take down both of your Nexus turrets and take the series 2-0 as BD can hardly hide his excitement in this series.